Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the mainstream media reacting to the very sudden death of Elio. It's huge failure for Disney Pixar. Only did, I think it was 21 million domestic this weekend. And yeah, it's pretty bad. 35 million globally. That's what they thought was going to do.
That was globally?
Globally.
Oh, that's really bad.
That's terrible because they actually thought that overseas market was going to carry it. And I'm like, if you're betting on China, they're making their own movies now.
I think the whole thing with it is it's not a bad movie. The problem is it's not something people wanted to see. Like, I went begrudgingly. I only went to cover it for the channel. I would not normally have ever gone to it. They're waiting for Disney Plus if they watch it all because it does not look like something they're interested in.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer looked boring. I mean, I'm going to be honest. And it was very different. I guess they had a very different version of the movie. The original teaser, he was actually afraid to be abducted. And then in the final trailer, he was looking forward to getting probed, which is weird.
It's like my first probe.
It's like Bill Murray in Little Shop of Horrors. Candy bar. Oh! Elio's getting probed. Anyway. Through his nose. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Yes, it was in his nose.
So let's talk about this postmortem on Elio, because I think it's pretty much over at this point. Like this one, I really do feel like, regardless of the quality of the movie, and look, a lot of people have seen the movie. They said the movie was pretty good. Some people said the movie wasn't good. You said the movie was good. I've heard from other people they liked it. I've heard from some people said they hated it. But regardless,
they were bored, which is fair. Like,
that's a valid.
I'm personally
criticism.
Offended if someone doesn't agree with me on it. It's just funny to me. How we spend so much time saying that, you're allowed to like it, you're allowed to not like it. And people are mad because they're harassed. They don't like something. And then if I like something, I get harassed for liking it. And I just think it's hilarious because it's the same people. And it's like, do you not see you're doing exactly what you say you hate? No. But I have no problem. If you disagree with me on it, that's completely cool. I think you're allowed to have your own opinion and does not have to agree with me. Like, I am not offended in any way if you don't agree with me. It's not for everyone. I think the majority of people thought it looked like shit, or they would have gone. And they just did it. 35 million globally is very, very bad. Two things, again, can be true simultaneously. The movie could be, pretty okay, and it could also do really, really, really terrible at the box office. It just did not look like something people would want to see.
So, and they didn't. So anyway. And there's a lot of movies to see this summer that, again, when the budgets are tight, families are
that's true too.
Families especially are going to pinch those pennies. They're going to be a little more judicious, I think, in what they take their kids to go see, because especially if they've got a lot of kids, it might be they only go see one or two movies this summer.
And Superman's coming, and Fantastic Four is coming. People are probably like, I just saw How to Train Your Dragon. I'm waiting for the other big ones to drop, and this one wasn't a big one. And honestly, I think Disney buried it in there.
I think it was intentional. We're going to talk about this. This is kind of a postmortem, not just on Elio, but also Pixar being able to launch new franchises. And I tell you, one of the big reasons why they can't launch successful new franchises is they're missing John Lasseter. And every time John Lasseter comes up in any capacity, the mainstream media is there to remind you of very nebulous allegations
from years ago,
from 2018.
That went nowhere.
And Disney didn't fire him on the spot. They actually let him write out his contract.
And then it went nowhere. Like, if he really did those things, wouldn't there be more to it than that? Especially if it was Me Too, like crazy back then. Wouldn't it have gone somewhere?
You would think. But they can't really launch successful new franchises now. Everything that they're betting on, the original movies were done on Lasseter's watch. Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird? Right. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
We got more exclusive content over at news.clownfishtv.com, by the way. Check that out. This comes from Variety. Elio box office flop. Why can't Pixar launch original films? Well, why can't they? They said that Inside Out 2 opened to 154 million domestic and did 652 million in North America and 1.69 billion globally. And a year later, Elio face planted with the worst start in Pixar's history, earning 21 million domestic and 35 million globally.
Because one thing was a sequel to an established property and one thing was not. And also space stuff just doesn't go.
Yeah. Yeah. They said these would be solid numbers for another original animation film, but this is Pixar, said David A.
They spent
Gross.
$300 million for it.
Well, that's what, okay, so I'm trying to figure out where the $300 million came from. They're saying that it definitely cost $150 million to produce before factoring in global marketing expenses, but didn't they have to redo a lot of this movie too?
Apparently they had to reduce some stuff. They changed directors, they changed writers. I think a lot of it's the same, but they also made changes, and they somehow they went from America Ferrera being his mom to Zoe Saldana being his aunt, and some other stuff that was changed. But yeah, I kept hearing the 300 million also, but I also saw the 150 million. There's a large gap between the two.
Well, we'll never know.
Either way,
we'll never know
even if it's 300 million, even if it's 150 million, and they needed 300 million to break even, it's nowhere near that.
No,
it's gonna suck either way.
They said with the poor turnout for Elio, Pixar hasn't successfully launched a new theatrical property since 2017's Coco. Again, golly gee, who was there when Coco was in production? It'd be easy for Pixar to consider that and retreat into the world of sequels and reboots, but over the long term, the company will still need to replenish its aging franchises with fresh characters and stories. As the home to Toy Story, The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Pixar is considered the gold standard for family entertainment. They were. The company,
now.
Not now. And all those franchises were done on Lasseter's watch. However, the company's last 4 attempts at trying something new, those include Onward, Lightyear, and Elemental. Yeah, I wouldn't consider Lightyear a new. I would say Soul. I mean, this is at the box office. I'd say Soul, Turning Red, Luca, and then they tried to release them theatrically, and didn't they only do like 5 million?
Yeah, because they had already been out on Disney Plus for a long time.
Yeah, so the Pixar name alone is not enough to fill seats. Its challenge now is creating films that feel distinctive while also being marketable. Yeah, and people are going to comfort food. Lilo and Stitch again, a Minecraft movie. Well, I like Minecraft. How to Train Your Dragon again, Super Mario. Last year or the year before, whatever it was. They said coming out of the pandemic, the bar has been set higher for a number of genres, including family films. It's been hard to create something new with animation. Audiences want more of the same or something very different. Very different.
Well, Elio was very different, but it's just, I think people have already been jaded on Disney and Pixar because we had things with Lightyear, and you took a beloved character and you made a movie about the character that had nothing to do with the character.
Yeah.
And then you put some things in it. Some people argue are questionable things, and people are finding that whenever, and that was just the first of many missteps, and now they're just afraid to go. They went Inside Out 2 because they heard in the media that they made sure they toned down the shipping that people were worried about, so that they knew Disney was listening. So they went to that one because they knew what it was. This one, it was a new IP. It's got that bean mouth thing that people are getting tired of. And usually, not to be mean, when you see that, you usually associate it with certain things, certain, sides, certain agendas, and things like that. And so they saw that and they're like, it's about a kid in space. He's abducted by aliens. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of it looks very much like so many other movies. I mean, we had Home, and then what was that other one where the kid went to the planet of aliens or something, and the dog was like, I can't even remember what the hell it was called. I think it had The Rock in it or some stupid something.
I don't remember. It wasn't Mars Needs Moms. That was
no, God, no. But there's so
remember.
But there's so many like very forgettable kid in space movies.
This generation has no desire to see those. It's not. It's when we were kids, space stuff was popular. It's not popular now. I don't think people care about it, and it is what it is. They're more interested in video game adaptations and stuff like that. And they're just not interested in that. And I don't know what else to tell you. I know I wasn't interested in it. I saw the trailer. I thought it looked like dog shit. And I went there fully expecting it to be absolutely terrible. And I was very surprised when it wasn't. But I went. Most people aren't going to spend their money. They're like, I'm going to save that money and I'm going to use it to go Superman.
Yeah. Or we just spent all of our movie budget on Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon.
Right.
So it's going to be a couple months.
So, if I had to choose, I'm going to pick those ones, which are things I know, and are live action remakes of things I know, instead of this new one that every time I've taken a chance on a new stuff, if it isn't Disney Plus and free, I didn't care to watch it. And I mean, now the audience reviews on Rotten Tomatoes are it's like 91%. So they're predominantly good. Critical score is 84%, predominantly good. Just that nobody went to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're saying that families picked other movies. Basically, there's so many family movies. They said How to Train Your Dragon, 37 million its second week. Lilo and Stitch is still making money because it did 9.5 million in its fifth weekend. So that's half as much as Elio did. 5 weeks into it. And they said when families had the luxury of choice, they went with what they knew best instead of something new and different.
Yeah, because you used to have tickets for theater and you had when the economy was better. Okay, it's not that big a deal to waste money. If you don't like it, you're not out much. But now you're out a lot because people don't have the extra money they had before. No. And the cost of everything is so sky high that people have to scrape just to get by. It's a much bigger investment. Like $5. Well, now what tickets are like what, $8, $10? Yeah. $5 then. When you had lots of money, it was not a big deal. $8 or $10 now, when everything is costing twice of what it did a couple of years ago, it makes it a big deal. It's a big sink times how many people.
Oh yeah, no, that's exactly it. So yeah, they're blaming it on the timing. They said that's bad too, but just especially with family movies, like it has to be an event.
Well, and I think they put Elio was supposed to come out last November or whatever, and they moved it to this time slot, which I thought was weird. But it's just you buried it. You had Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon, and right in between that and Superman. They knew what they were doing. They knew it wasn't going to do well, and then now they have the luxury of saying, "Oh, it's the box office. It's too much competition." Because why else would they go against themselves? They wouldn't. They're bearing it. They were trying to stick it in there so they have a convenient excuse.
Now, here's where it's going to get scary for U.S. animators. Going back to something that the current president of Pixar said in 2023, he said one of the ways you can make these films for less money, and almost all of our competitors are doing this now, is to work offshore. It's only us and Disney Animation that makes animated films in the U.S. anymore with all the artists under one roof. We feel like having a colony of artists approach has differentiated our films. We hope to find a path to make that work. But I'm telling you, Disney, if they're pressed and they're like, well, we can't spend $150-200 million on an animated movie, but we could spend maybe 50 to 75. And how we do that is we outsource that work, and also we use AI and that's what they're going to do. And that's how,
sadly, but it's ironic because I think that using the AI is actually turning audiences away, which is a whole other story.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's going to get to a place where, and I talked about this in another video, but where the AI, at least the studio level AI, is going to be so good that most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference. But the consumer version is always going to have that kind of fakey looking, I think, for now. I mean, it might get really, really good, but I think the studios are going to lock the good stuff down, because if everybody can do it, why would you spend any money to go see any Pixar movie, no matter how good it is? Because you can just generate one yourself at home.
Right. And honestly, people are just going to wait. If money's tight, we're just going to wait till it comes to Disney Plus. And you've done it yourself. You've trained them to do it.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, because they punted Pixar to, they basically trained people to watch Pixar on streaming, and Pixar became kind of the directed DVD arm of Disney at this point, kind of like Disney Toon Studio or whatever, where they're doing the Tinkerbell movies and the Cheap Quills, and that's what Pixar is. I mean, so Pixar went from being like the absolute gold standard in animation to we make crap for streaming.
Right, pretty
basically.
Much. Or we try to put stuff in theaters that are new, it fails, and then we get more sequels.
I feel like if they didn't put the money into this one, and they were basically saving money to because they put so much money into Lilo and Stitch, it's unreal. And they're going to pump a bunch of money in the Fantastic Four probably as we get closer. I have to wonder if it wasn't like, oh, well, guys, we tried to do something new. Now let's talk about Toy Story 6, 7, 8, and 9. Cars probably 4, 5, and 6, because we got to do more Cars movies because of the theme park attraction. So we got to do more Cars.
I think if they picked the right thing, it would do well, but they're just not picking the right things. I mean, Strange World. Was that Strange World Pixar? Was that Disney? Walt Disney Pictures?
No, that was Disney. And we talked about
Strange World was Disney. But I'm just saying, like, they keep picking the wrong things.
Yeah. Yeah, and this looked, I mean, honestly, to your average moviegoer, it's like, oh, another space movie like Strange World.
Pretty much. We know how that went.
Yeah, I mean, Strange World wasn't a space movie, but it looked kind of, was it? No, they were like inner space.
I mean, okay, when you look at this picture, you'd think, okay, this is for little kids. And people are taking their little kids. And that's cool, but most people are going to be like, "Oh, no, we'll just wait. We'll go see Lilo and Stitch, and we'll go see for Superman." Like this is just like really little kid-esque. And when I went to theaters, there was a lot of little kids. That again, the movie was not terrible. It was a good, cute movie with some good themes, and there was some character growth in it and everything. It's just that nobody has any interest in it, given that image.
Yeah.
And that's fair and valid. If you don't want to see it, completely fair and valid. I'm not mad in any way, shape, or form. I just say, do you, and I just people don't want to see it. So there it is.
Yeah, this aged like milk. Disney and Pixar are on their way to another hit.
Who said that? Because that was never going to happen. Oh, CBR kisses.
Because the reviews were good, but that doesn't always mean it's going to be a financial hit.
Yeah, and debuting with enthusiastic critical scores does not mean that it's going to do well.
Right.
So anyway, we're wrapping this up.
Yeah,
there's only so much you can say about this. It failed. It was
very, very dead.
Objectively an okay or good movie, but no one wanted to see, and people probably watch it when it's on Disney Plus.
Yep.
That's the end.
The end. All right. Let's wrap it up, guys. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.